Hi, my name is Eva. As of the winter semester 2017, I've been following the master's program of wind energy systems at UNIKIMS Castle. My first degree was in geology, so I did a bachelor's in geology in the UK. And about 8 years later, I did a specialization. I did a master's in petroleum engineering. I worked in the oil field for probably about 5 years before I thought of alternative resources or renewable resources. I never did anything about it back then, just because, well, I guess I was just happy doing what I was doing. But the seed was planted many years ago. That little seed grew and grew and grew until the day I decided, okay, if I've got time on my hands, which I did when I started this course, I might as well be doing something that might potentially work out into a job opportunity at some point. There's a lot of changes in the oil field. When I started, it was still, I wouldn't say quite booming, but it was definitely getting to its peak. And about 2010 is when I really started seeing the effects of the downturn in oil and the increasing prices and lots of people losing their jobs, which was initially one of my reasons for wanting to diverge into a different field. Yeah, it's becoming a very difficult place to work. Having said that, it still has a future, of course, for some time anyway. But I just want to keep my options open for the future, which is why I chose wind energy to have a backup plan if it comes to that. I definitely wanted a course that offered me the opportunity of continuing my studies while I was working, and an online course seemed the perfect option for that. Castle University offered an interesting online course, so that was definitely on my radar, as were different universities around Europe. But yeah, the key thing was definitely an online or a distance course. It was just convenient with the way that they set out the courses. It is quite a long program, I find. It's they recommend to do it within 5 to 7 semesters, but it does give you a lot of freedom in the sense of what you're allowed to choose per semester, and the variety of courses that they offer was rather interesting. I like the meteorology course, so I've always been a bit interested on why the Weather Channel is always getting it wrong. So that was that was rather interesting for me to see why they're getting it wrong all the time. Well, not all the time. That's a bit unfair, but just the science that goes behind that was appealing to me. There was also obviously the actual design and construction of the wind turbines, which for me is a bit is rather interesting. I used to work in the oil field where I know quite a bit about how to drill a well, so it was interesting to me to find out how to build a turbine and exploit the energy that comes out of the wind. So those two courses they're quite interesting. Another issue that we have in the world today is energy storage. We have a lot of energy available to us that we can harvest, whether it's solar or wind or hydro. But one of the big challenges that we have is storing it. And that's a course that they also offer at UNIKIMS. And yeah, that sparked my interest as well. I'm only in my second semester, so I haven't had the full array of courses. The challenging ones are, the same as always, the very mathy ones or the very physicky ones. But yeah, they're all a bit of a challenge. We do have the possibility of communicating directly, when I say directly, through webinars with our various professors or even the counselors. They're quite good at responding. Sometimes it takes longer than other times. That's pretty normal, I guess. But yeah, it's essentially all done through email and webinars. You also do have the possibility during the live courses, which we do have some of, communicating directly with the professor, so asking a real-time question and getting a real-time answer. We also have the contacts for all the students that are in the courses with us, and we are encouraged to communicate with the other students and send each other emails, whether it's to clarify or to ask questions, or if we're stuck on a problem or anything. So in that sense, I think UNIKIM does make quite an effort to make sure that we are as surrounded as we can be, given the circumstances of an online course. One of my courses required that I do a project with someone on the course, so that forced me to contact someone on the course. And from then on, I started emailing other students, and it's actually proved very useful in places I was stuck. I just sent a couple of people emails. Oh, we also have forums, so if you don't want to communicate with someone directly, you can also just put a question on a forum, and either the professor answers or the other students answer. Usually the other students, and if we're struggling, then the professor will come in and help us out. It's a bit different to what I'm used to. I personally like having a teacher in front of me and colleagues or students around me to ask and brainstorm with. So the online concept is a bit or very different in the sense that you really are on your own. It just makes it a little bit harder to ask questions or clarifications. Obviously, it's just easier to raise your hand and talk to someone. On the positive side, an online course does allow you to do it when you want. So if you're busy during the day doing whatever it is you're doing, you can always come home. And if you want to start your studies at 6 or at 7 or 8 p.m., that's totally possible. The flexibility is amazing. And also, if you've missed what the lecturers said, you can always replay the whole video. So that's great. You don't have to write everything down like you do if you're sitting in an amphitheater or something with a teacher in front of you. Oh, I don't think there's anything to be afraid of. If this is your first online course and the whole concept frightens you, I would just say, well, don't load yourself too much up on the first semester or semesters. Start with 1 or 2 courses. Like I said, they don't force you to do any number of courses. You can do as little as 1 or as many as, I don't know, pick a number. It's really up to you what you do. So no, don't be frightened of it. Just do it at your own pace. Do what you're comfortable with. What's next for me is, well, during the course of this second semester, I was happy enough to find a job. The whole reason I chose the online course was for exactly this situation, finding a job and being able to continue my studies as well as actually working a full-time job. Yeah, I guess I'll find out what it's like studying and having a job at the same time. I think that's probably going to be a little bit more challenging than it has been so far, but I think I'll probably just do exactly what I just recommended and drop the number of courses I'm doing to not the bare minimum, but what I can handle. So that will be my next semester. I'll be doing a lot fewer courses. I think it was a good decision. I think it's a great way of getting a degree and furthering your understanding of a specific topic at your own pace in your own time.